Melanated match. It's unexplainable. It's unconditional. It's unforgettable. Unstoppable. The match so intentional. It's so invitable. Indescribable.
I always just be into that when it's okay. I'm sorry.
It's a good groove, man.
I know. Welcome to his
and her
perspective. And here at His and Her Perspective, we find common ground to harmonize relationships. And we do that by having the conversations that we're going to have today. How are you, brother?
All is well, sis. All is well. You look lovely as usual.
Well, thank you very much. You look very regal. I love what is that? Tell me what it's called again. You always tell me.
Yes.
Let
me make sure the family can see it. It's the Ankh.
Yes.
It's the key.
I love that.
It is the ancient Egyptian symbol of life.
Every time you wear that, I feel king, man. I feel like royalty, man, in the house.
It's what it is. It's what we do.
It's what we do. Listen, y'all, today we're going to have a really good conversation. Today we're going to talk about our Juniversary conversation because this is our Juniversary month, y'all. All month long, we are celebrating our 1 year anniversary here at the His and Her Perspective show. And we're today going to have a really good conversation. I'm sorry, I might have to take these off. Have a really good conversation about, did the Black woman choose welfare over the Black man?
Ooh.
Straight, no chaser.
Great.
We're going to have that conversation, y'all. So if you're looking at us right now, make sure that you're clicking the share button. Share it on all of your pages, all of your groups, invite your friends. Make sure that you're hitting the heart. Hit the heart, hit the heart, hit the heart. We got a lot of people on here right now. And let's see those hearts come up. Let's see those hearts come up. Come on. If you haven't already, make sure that you are subscribing to all of our YouTube channels. Coach Vaun the Love Alchemist, Coach Michelamonè, and ATR, All Things Relevant. Make sure that you're seeing all of us on the other social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of that. Follow us because we have some great content that we're going to be talking about in now and then even upcoming. Now, if you haven't already, go over to our YouTube page at the His and Her Perspective show. Subscribe to that page. Hit the red bell so that you can get any of the upcoming shows that we have. Man, it's going to be good.
Yeah. So
listen, also, we promised y'all we were going to come up with this, right? And let me go ahead and get that up while I'm talking. If you want to ask us a question on air, go ahead and call us at 304-60-ASK-US, 304-60-ASK-US. And then we're going to make sure that we get you in queue to answer your question. So I'm excited about this today. What about you, brother? You look great, by the way.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I've been looking forward to this conversation. This is like you said in the write-up, this is one that gets talked about at many gatherings, many circles, all kinds of spaces, and there are a lot of varying ideas on it. So I'm excited about.
Yeah, I am excited as well. So I'm trying to get this Google thing up. Do we happen to have a person today? Couple?
No. I thought we were moving.
That's fine. Hey, listen.
I can bring it back. I thought that we had decided that we were going to do something different, but no worries, fam. I know more people. I will bring you more prominent Black loving relationships next week.
Right. Next week. And listen, y'all, if y'all know anybody that has been in a relationship for a little bit of time, and you want them highlighted, you want them to be encouraged, you want them to be built up, make sure that you're emailing us at harmony@hisandherperspective.com. If you have a show idea, do the same over at harmony@hisandherperspective.com. And I'll repeat those things before we finish our show today. So let's move on into today's. I am tongue tied today.
Yeah. No worries. Deep breath.
I know. Tongue tied today. Let's see who is over here saying hi to us, because we always want you to say hi. Come in, tell us who you are and where you're tapping in from. And as always, we got Yarley over at the bakery. Hello, Yarley.
Donuts. The brother is always making donuts. Salute. My man, get that bread.
We got Julius. Hey, y'all, tuning in from Port Wentworth, Georgia. Hello.
Brother Julius.
Hey, Desi. That's the lovely wife of Coach Vaun, the love Alchemist.
The lady Alchemy always in the place.
Yes. Hey, Ayana. How you doing? Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Mama Vaun, Vaughn's mama.
Hi, Mom.
Yarley says, yes, definitely some choose to promise food stamps, welfare, and subsidized housing over having their man at their side. And with that being said, let's start this conversation.
So it starts. Let's get it.
So the promise of food stamps. So how many of you all believe, hey, D Jackson, how you doing? How you doing over there? Ayana's from Baltimore. How many of you all believe this statement that Black women have chosen, or back then chose, welfare over keeping their Black man in the household? How many of you feel that way? What are your thoughts about this, brother?
Yeah, man, this is a good one, because like I see what the brother Yardley just wrote, and as he put that up again.
Put that up.
He said, yes, definitely. Some chose the promise of food stamps, welfare, and subsidized housing over having their man at their side. Now, as I was reading that, I just thought about somebody coming up to my house and making my wife a wonderful offer of food stamps, welfare, and subsidized housing, with the caveat that I had to exit stage left.
Right.
And I wonder if she would take that deal. Right. And there's only a few circumstances that I could imagine her taking that deal. Like, things would have to be really rocky over here. Maybe our relationship isn't that great. Maybe our children are facing starvation or, abject poverty on a level that somehow this man that showed up knocking at the door, maybe he's offering some way of alleviating that strain in a way that I can't, or, for whatever reason.
Right.
So I'm just wondering, like, what scenario would she say, yeah, I'm a Mr. Man, whoever you are, I'm gonna take that deal, and brother, you and your alchemy and all that, you gotta go. Like, right. What are the conditions? And so I'm looking to dig into that. I don't think that she would take that. Sweetheart, since you in the chat, humor us all, please, and enlighten me and let me know if I'm worth a bag of food stamps.
And I want you not to think of him now. Think of him back in 1963, even though he was a baby, if he wasn't even born in 63. But just think about, because we have to understand, we cannot think of this and make that decision based off of the information that we have today. So we have to go back and ask ourselves, what was the circumstances that these women take the deal, Desi? Oh, your brother is wrong for that. We be struggling together. Absolutely. And so this is the thing. I just, like Ayana says, I don't believe, she swears at her, where is that? She said, I don't believe it was a knowledgeable decision. At the time, those who were struggling and couldn't feed their children, they may have made, like you said, there's different scenarios. They may have made that decision together. Hey, babe, you go ahead and get this. But I just really, in my core of my being, do not believe that they had all the information. Down the line, he ain't going to be able to come back at all. As a matter of fact, we're going to wrap him up, catch him up, because we're going to drop a little drugs in your community, catch him up. Because, see, the drugs is going to make him want to, indulge in that selling, because it's going to be a way for him to come back in the home. He's going to be able to come back up because we're going to show him how to become a drug dealer by giving him this stuff to go and sell to his own community. So I really do not think that, like you said, had somebody come to her door and said the caveat is he can't come back, she wouldn't have done that unless he was abusing her. I can't even think of it if it was, we not just having a good time. We're not in a good relationship. I really want to believe that she would have still said, yeah, I don't want to get rid of him totally.
Look, Keith Solomon says the next level of the coin flip is our women leaving for a couple of stimulus checks and forgivable PPP loan and the appearance of independence. Good evening, family. Good everything. I guess he meant good
everything, family. Good everything.
Good evening.
Yeah.
And then Stephanie says, yes, I do believe some women chose food stamps or some type of government assistance in order to take care of their children, not realizing that the conquer and divide of the Black family.
Yes. With that being said, let me tap into, I got to do my little statistics and research, y'all know. So back in 1963, okay, when Johnson was the president, there was a civil, let me go back. I'm sorry. There was this was around the time when the civil rights movement was going on. There was a White House aide that wrote to the president, and he wrote in the president because, of course, they know what's happening with this financial aid and this welfare situation. He began to tell the president, nah, this ain't the right thing, dude. We need not do that. This ain't gonna turn out right. He said that this growing matriarchy was an important cause of poverty among Black Americans. This created a furor because it was accused by many of blaming the victims for their distress. So, and I've said that before, we keep fighting a narrative that we didn't create. So we're blaming the victims, the women who took this on, for their distress when they weren't given all of the information.
Look, let me say this. Can we go in?
Come on, please do.
A lot of people ain't gonna like this, but
Come on.
We did say Juniversary, straight no chaser, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look, to a great extent, a lot of the issues that we complain about are problems that reflect relative powerlessness. Okay. And so this is a topic that, we don't like to talk about much because many of us, our community as a collective, has bought into an ideology that says power and the pursuit of power is evil.
Yeah.
Okay. Now look how tricky the devil is, right? I mean, he come in so smooth. Look, the Bible even says, and I'm not going all into the Bible, but listen to what I'm saying. Even in the Bible, the devil was the most handsome, the most beautiful,
charismatic
of all the angels.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, here's where we make the mistake. We don't think about the experience in this country, our experience in this country, in the context of war being waged on the family, the community, even the individuals. But here's the thing. There are 9 areas of people activity or people interaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, rest in power, she laid out these 9 areas, and she even added a 10th as a caveat. So these 9 areas, these 10 areas are economics,
mm-hmm.
education, entertainment, healthcare, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Now, one of the things that you and I talk about often is how there are three primary sciences that our community, even though we've got all these esteemed, beautiful HBCUs, there are still three sciences that we are deprived of: the science of relating, the science of economics, the science of warfare.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in the context of war, you're looking at what's happening to us as a collective.
Right.
And so for those of you who buy into this idea that the woman just arbitrarily chose welfare over her man, just in a vacuum, you know what? Hey, sis, you could have these stamps, you can have some housing in a vacuum. Take this offer and get rid of that zero.
Right.
But if you don't understand the offer itself in the context of the war that is being waged on the family, you missed the whole damn thing.
The whole thing.
See, so you thinking in terms of these things happening as isolated incidences, when in reality, they're all under the strategy of a warfare that has been launched against you and those of your ilk. Okay?
Come on now, keep coming.
You're rocking off your chair, but I don't mean to hit you that
No,
hard.
no.
So here's my final point. As I listed these areas of people interaction, and you entertain the offer that was made to our women, right?
Right.
10 areas of people interactivity. I'm people interaction. I'm gonna read them again, right? Economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, war, and as a 10th caveat, healthcare, right? Name me one of those areas. Name me which one of those areas that she was exempt from.
Right.
Name me which one of those areas that she didn't suffer at least as great an attack or an assault on her physical, financial, psychological, emotional, physical. Did I say all that?
Yeah.
Her well-being as an individual and as a collective. Name me the area that she was exempt, and then I'll buy your idea that she just arbitrarily chose because, hey, you know what? To hell with the black man. These food stamps are pretty damn good.
Right. When it wasn't even enough to do anything with. This is the thing. This was so strategically planned that you had some people who decided that I don't want to be a part of this administration. This was going on in the Johnson administration and way before that. Back when Reagan was they brought it back up when Reagan, the Reagan administration was in force. It says the nation's welfare system has encouraged families to split up and has led to a state of welfare dependency for generation after generation of Blacks. They would reduce governmental social programs in order for them to get back to, they said in order for them to get back on track, they would have to reduce the governmental social programs, require able individuals on welfare to work, and place more emphasis on apprehending fathers and force them to support their children. Now, this is the thing. You take the jobs away from the black man. You sent them overseas because we were doing very well as a community. Our men knew how to work with their hands. They were making the same amount of money as these white men because, and they was like, wait, hold on. How he get the bad house down the street? Wait, we can't do that. How he coming? Wait, something's happening. So what did they do? They did something that they even doing today. Check out the real estate game. I'm gonna leave that there. So this is, you have to understand, it's 13% of us in the United States. We don't have the authority to create the narrative that has been working against us for decades. We don't have the power nor the money. Even when we had our own Wall Street, we didn't have enough. to create the narrative that has been working against us for decades. So if you sit there and you believe that women are the problem, we are the ones that did all of this. No, we are fighting each other for something that, like it says, blaming the victims for our distress. We're blaming each other for our distress. And when people stick to that, you'll never come out of it. Never come out of it. They say, I'm sorry, and I'm gonna say this
flow. Go ahead and flow.
It says it may mean. He said this is one of the most serious problems facing their communities, and that it may mean that larger and larger proportions of coming generations of Blacks will grow up disadvantaged. This was written in 1963. Eleanor Holmes Norton, a law professor at Georgetown University, was a chairman of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission at the Carter administration. Okay, she termed the family crisis a threat to the future of Black people without equal. So they have been talking about this over every administration comes in. They're talking about why this has happened. And they're not blaming it on us. They're blaming it on themselves, the government that they run. The problem must be resolved, the experts say, because otherwise society at large will have to pay the price, either in compensatory measures to prop up fractured lives or in strife and social conflict as the gap widens between privilege and the excluded.
So, again, I guess, I mean, man, that's a bomb. I wish we need some sound effects.
We do need some sound effects.
That was look, it goes back to the top where, you know, one of the first things I said is that these are complaints of relative powerlessness. So just imagine what type of scenario must exist. Let me say it this way. We suffer disproportionately. We suffer emotional health issues, physical health issues, all kinds of societal ills. We suffer these things disproportionately, right?
Yeah.
So imagine the scenario that must exist in order for a woman to choose, first of all, to be in a situation that is so disharmonious that an offer like that would even appear enticing, because she wasn't getting rich,
right?
Off of no damn food stamps, right? And no project or welfare housing, right? I lived in the projects. I understand what it's like, right? So if you just look, I watched my mother raise me and my brother as a single mom,
right?
I didn't realize. Can I tell my business a little bit? I hope you don't mind. My mother was a school teacher. Now I'm looking back in 1986, 88, roughly, right? I was a growing boy. I would eat a loaf of bread just about every other day and a carton of eggs, because my thing was I would come in, I was an athlete, I would come in hungry, and I love French toast. So I would make myself French toast, and I would just go in. I was going through groceries like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
She never complained. Now, my mother was a school teacher, a very young school teacher at the time. You could Google how much a teacher's salary was in an average teacher salary in the mid 80s. She wasn't making a lot of money, fam, right? Matter of fact, if my father had not died just a couple years prior, we couldn't have even afforded to move out of the projects into the lower income suburb that we were living in.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Saying all that to say this: no woman in her right mind chooses to raise children alone.
None.
Right? No woman in her right mind chooses on purpose in a vacuum to just, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go it alone because it just feels like a good idea.
Right.
Right? Hell no. Right? So then you have to understand then that for our women, however many, whatever percentage, I don't know what the percentage was because we don't know the conditions in these different homes.
Right.
But for a woman to choose these rickety ass food stamps and this government housing over the assistance that a man's presence provides, the stability that a healthy man's presence offers to the not only to her own relationship, but to the welfare, the well-being of the children.
Yes.
For her to choose food stamps over that, you gotta understand that something was terribly wrong.
Yeah.
And if you can't understand that, your whole perspective is whack.
Yeah.
All of this in the context of war.
War.
If you don't understand what we are dealing with in the context of war in every area of people activity, education, economics, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, war, and let's add the 10th, healthcare. Rest in power, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. If you don't understand these things in the context of war, everything else that you think you understand will only confuse you.
Yep. And we don't get it. So it's for instance, many politicians and social scientists have agreed over the years the dissolution of the Black family structure has been the main cause for our poverty. If you keep people from those three arts that we keep talking about, and then even deeper into those three arts, because all of those things encompass those three. You keep those people from those three, the art of relating, the art of wealth, which is the art of economics, and the art of war, they will go into extinction, basically, right? So you get somebody that doesn't know how to relate, doesn't know how to communicate, doesn't know how to love, doesn't know how to treat people doesn't know how to do that in the relational. Doesn't mean just romantic, but family-wise and unit-wise. Just come together and figure this thing out. Let's do this, and we can struggle together, kind of thing. You put them in a position where now they have they don't know how, or they don't know how to create the wealth, and they don't know how to build themselves out of that poverty. You're going to create a dynamic where there's war against the two, which is what was happening, blaming the victims for their own distress. You do this, you create a dynamic where what happens? What you've been purposed here to do will keep you from doing it. You won't be able to be what? Fruitful and multiply. We put y'all against each other. What y'all gonna do? Split up and go the other way. It's like the whole men going their own way movement. Well, if men going their own way, women going their own way too. So what's happening? Nobody's coming together. You're not creating the babies that you need to be creating. You're not creating the unions and marriages that you need to be creating to keep the solidification of your community. You will die out if you don't understand that and stop fighting each other, stop dogging each other, stop saying things to each other, Black man, Black woman. Then you are going to be a part of the problem that has been going on for decades that we have no control over until we decide to redo it in our own community and stop coming against each other.
Look,
you have to.
Let me drop this in.
Go ahead.
When somebody asked me, well, these sciences that you keep talking about, or the arts, whichever you want to refer to.
Yeah.
Let's just go with, since our platform is relationships.
Right.
The science of relating, right? When you don't understand, watch this. Look how cold the game is, family. When you don't understand the science of relating, you choose your mates based on, damn, look how fine she is. Oh, look, I bet he got a big, right? Look how much money he might make. Right? Look, I understand now. Look, there is a scientific or a biological reason behind preference. Mm-hmm. For instance, the woman's hourglass figure, that curvaceous figure that we so greatly covet. Like, that is an indication that that she has a greater chance at producing offspring and a healthy offspring.
Because she can hold the babies based off the hips.
Right. So there is, some scientific dynamic in that whole preference. But look, oh man, I need me a red bone, right? Or my baby got to have good hair, right? Many of us are making mating preferences based on all kinds of external or superficial ideas, neglecting what really ends up being a much larger part of whether or not the relationship can be sustainable, whether it can thrive. Is he going to be a good husband, first and foremost, and then ultimately a good father, teacher, leader for the family? Is she going to be a good wife, support system, nurturer for not only for me, but for my children, right? So we're not choosing, we're not even, look, when my lady got pregnant, I'm gonna tell on myself for a minute. I'm not preaching. Look, when I met my wife, I was 12 the first time I met her, and I thought she was the cutest thing that I had ever seen, right?
Right.
I just want to suck on her lips. I mean, she just look, I'm a little freaky. I want to look, ooh wee, right? And then she got to be 14, 15, 16, and then the hourglass started coming. I'm like, God, Lee, as my grandmama would say, God, Lee, Moses.
Right.
And so I want to touch her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not thinking about, is she going to be a good mother for my children, a good wife for me? I'm not. I want to plant the seed, but I'm not thinking about how the seed might germinate, right? And many of us are producing children, of course, not necessarily thinking about the fruit of that outcome.
No.
All we want is the nut. And then 9 months later, we are with child, trying to make a scenario work, trying to produce a loving scenario with somebody that we don't even like.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm saying the science of mating, the science of relating is all intricately woven into this process, because if you understood the science, yeah, you would still want to choose somebody that you're at least attracted to.
Right.
But there are so many attractive people out here with a lot of pain in their wake.
Ooh, hunty.
Right? It's some beautiful people, some fly sisters out here that's breaking brothers' hearts. It's some handsome brothers out here with 6 figures and Mercedes, whatever kind of whip you can imagine that you would like to drive in, dogging women left and right, doing all kinds of things. So
left and right.
The science of mating, the science of relating, the art and science of relating. Let's go there, right?
Yeah.
It is foundational to the understanding of what's required to produce healthy outcomes individually, first as a unit, and then communally, then ultimately to the larger collective.
Yeah. Come on. So I have experienced this as a child with the social worker coming to our home and checking for my dad. I have experienced this as a grown woman who had just had my own child, with the social worker coming to my home to check for men. Asking things, lifting up covers. If I had, if you cover up because my mama, they had to cover up the washing machine and a dryer. You weren't supposed to have a washing machine and a dryer if you were on public assistance. You can't have a TV. How do I know? Because that was said to me when she walked into my crib, because at the time when I had my son, I was working. I was taking care of myself. I had been put on a leave because I had fell at work. So I had to be placed on a leave, wasn't at the job long enough to get any money. So I had to go to public assistance. That woman walked into my house and began to walk through it like she owned it. Oh, Black woman, she did. She walked into my house and she had her clipboard and she had her pen and she, And how long have you had this television? Excuse me? Yes. And what size television is that? She was talking to me. And so, that we would have to confiscate. I told that woman, if you don't get up out my house, because you can't confiscate anything up in here. Well, do you have a husband? Do you have a boyfriend? Are you sleeping with anybody? She went through all of these questions with me. Asked me, when is the last time I had sex? These are things so then if the woman would have known that she had to go through this type of thing, she would not have made that choice. She was given the hey, and I'm sure the man may have been like, babe, go ahead and get that money. You know, you talk about up there, talking about the PPPs. You think that folk ain't talking about, well, you know what? I don't know if this is gonna be right, but let's get that PPP. Because you're looking at I need that right now. I need to survive right now. How can I do that right now? We'll worry about the later because it's going to be us. We're going to do this. But we're not going to we need to take this free money. And they keep doing it. And we keep fighting each other.
She said,
She
said, wow, they came into the homes like that even in the 80s. You're not talking about the 80s though, are you?
Yes, honey. I'm talking about that. My son was born in 1981.
Oh, okay.
I was living over on 70 over in Chatham. I was living in Chatham and she came into my apartment. Absolutely. Sure did.
Wow. So the brother L.A. Trey, I think his name, aka Mr. Research, he says, what do you classify? What state is that? So she's talking about Illinois, brother.
Yeah, Illinois. Because welfare, according to the government, they call welfare public assistance, public housing, the food stamps, they call it all of that.
Yeah. So
I'm not sure if you all name it something else in New York, but they definitely calling it that. They said that they denied benefits to family if an adult male was in the house. They claimed that was supposed to be stricken in 1968. That didn't happen because I was in 1981 still experiencing that. So that was a lie. And they said that 70% of the nation's families on welfare offer aid that covers supposedly unemployed fathers in the home. Since when? When they do that?
Well, depending on which community you're talking about.
Yeah, because it's
not us.
No,
I don't think that covered us.
Yeah. So so this is one of the questions I want to ask. Do you think, because this is the question that they've been tossing back and forth, which is what brought about this this article that was done in 1983 in the New York Times, actually talks about New York. The question was, let me go back. Sorry, y'all. This is an open question, which is more important, that the breakdown in family structure causes poverty, or that poverty is the cause of the breakdown.
Chicken or the egg type of argument.
Exactly. And so because this is they've been arguing this, they haven't done nothing. This is what they're saying.
Yeah. My answer is I can't speak for nobody else. I want to keep it germane to us. And I say that warfare is the cause.
Yeah.
Because
against us.
Look, watch this. Even psychological warfare, even, right? So we go back to, let's just go back to the 80s. And we're talking about, even back then, there was this narrative being spun that, Black women are getting abortions at such an astronomical rate. Okay, I'm not here to argue that we weren't experiencing a disproportionate amount of abortions. But if you go back to, I think I want to say 88 or so, maybe 90, somewhere in that time frame, that white women were outpacing Black women with the number of abortions. They had well over 100,000 more abortions in a given year than Black women were experiencing. Now, that doesn't justify, the amount of abortions that we had. That doesn't even make it okay. Right. I'm still saying that the only thing we heard about was how many abortions Black women had. The only gangs I ever heard about were Black and Latino or Hispanic gangs. I didn't realize that white gangs in 2000 up until 2010, I think 2012, that white gangs accounted for 51% of all gang violence in the country.
Wow. But you only hear about us.
Who knew? Because every time I see a gangbanger on TV, he look like me.
Right.
So watch this. I was watching a special. It was like CNN. It was a forum, a roundtable discussion,
Okay.
And it was a European woman. She had like a British accent, so maybe she was from Ireland or wherever, somewhere over there, European accent. And they're down in Africa having this conference, and she's talking to them about the beauty of women's rights to choose. Right? Look how great it would be if a woman could choose whether or not she wanted to bring life into this world. Like you should be able to say, hey, you know, this is an unfavorable situation that I'm living in, so maybe I want to opt out of this pregnancy because, you know, I live in a poverty-ridden area, or maybe we don't have the money, maybe we can't afford to, you know, bring a child into the world at this time. You know, whatever the reasons might be, it's great that you could at least have the option to decide. So she went on this, you know, and I mean, she articulated beautifully, right? The devil articulates beautifully some of the most well-crafted nonsense.
Yep.
Right. So then an African woman came on after her and said, the stuff that you're saying, that this idea of abortion, like before you came here, we didn't even have a word in our culture to describe what it is that you're talking about.
Right.
We didn't even have, it wasn't even a concept.
Right.
If you get pregnant, you have a baby.
You have the baby.
That's the way it goes, right?
Yeah.
But the devil has a way of making all manners of evil fair seeming.
Yep.
Right. So they introduce ideas that hey, you know, maybe in this particular scenario, maybe I wouldn't normally do this, but in this scenario, hey, you know, maybe I might.
Right.
Look, it's just one little bite.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Come on now. For real.
Yeah. So again, I'm saying, if I put all of this in the context of war, if you don't, I'm going to keep repeating these 10 areas of people interaction, because we don't understand. A lot of us do not understand economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics. Did I lose track? Religion, sex, war, and as a 10th, healthcare. Rest in power, right. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, for sharing these gems with us. We don't understand that we are bombarded psychologically, socioeconomically, physically, financially, in every way imaginable. We are bombarded in these areas, these 10 areas of people interaction. And you can give an example in each one. And so when we talk about, I don't know, we can go healthcare, we could go, I don't know, let's choose an area.
Yeah, because you have doctors, I know Black doctors who have, even they talk about it even on Blackish. So if they publicize this, that Black doctors talk about the disparities between how Black women are treated when they are in labor, when they are having babies, when they are pregnant. Their disparities are, I mean, like crazy, where these women, these doctors and these nurses are in tears because of the disparities between how Black women are treated in that situation. So yeah.
What is it called? Not infant mortality rate, but maternal. What is it called when the woman dies during childbirth? You have the infant mortality rate when the child dies. But the mother also dies. That's called something. I forget the word for it. But we suffer. Black women suffer disproportionately death or ill fate at during childbirth.
Right.
So we are being harmed.
Maternal mortality
rate, right? So disproportionately, and even infant mortality are disproportionately high. Look, in Mississippi, notorious for being one of the most racist states in the United States. All of the states are racist, but let's pick on Mississippi for a minute. Between 1940 and 1965, listen. Lynching was very common, right? Particularly with Black men, right?
Right.
Lynching was very common. Just as common, maybe even more common, but at least as common, was the raping of Black women.
Absolutely.
So thousands, and we could even talk about today where this guy down in Oklahoma just recently got convicted of raping. He was a police officer. We like to call them race soldiers, masquerading as a police officer.
Right.
He's going around during traffic stops, raping black women. This is just within the past 5 to 7 years he got convicted. So just imagine 100 years ago, right? Not even 100 years ago, hell, 60 years ago, how common it was to rape black women. So between 1940 and 1965, in the state of Mississippi, only 10 men were even convicted of rape. 10. Now that's amazing in and of itself, the fact that an all-white jury, because they didn't really let us on the juries back then, right? So an all-white jury even convicted as many as 10 men with as common as this thing. And that's just one state. Because you can go all throughout the Bible Belt and find all manners of wickedness. And so when you bring it full circle to the choice that the woman made, I'm going to take welfare over, if in fact it even got, because we don't know how that conversation actually took place. But consider this for a second. If it's as common for a black woman to be raped as it is for a black man to be lynched, right? I mean, you had women, look, they were housekeepers, right? And that a lot of them housekeepers were dealing with hell from them white owners, right? And I'm talking 50s, 60s, hell, 70s, right? And you better not say nothing. Right. There was a case, man, what was this sister's name? I know I'm long-winded. Let me just wrap up with this point. There was this sister back in the 40s. Her name was Reese Taylor. Okay. Reese Taylor. She was on her way home from work. Married now. She's married and she's got children. Okay. And she's on her way from home. A truck full of white guys get out. They raped her. And she begged them to at least just spare my life, right? I think it was 6 of them. And they left on the side of the road. She staggered home, gets home. They told her, you better not say nothing, right? She promised them that she wouldn't say anything. She goes home and she tells her husband, of course. And they go and try to file a complaint with the sheriff's department. And they caught hell just for filing an official complaint. Right. That's what they got for their trouble. And I want to say they even burned their house down. Yeah. So, and stuff like that is not abnormal. Even when back in the day when Eldridge, I think his name is Eldridge Cleaver. He told when he was brought in by the CIA because of his partaking in the Black Panthers. They brought him in for that. He said, because he was pumping himself up, feeling good. He said that he personally raped over 150 black women as practice to rape white women. Say that again. Say that again. He said out of his own mouth that he raped over 150 black women to practice on them when he was going to rape a white woman, which he never did. So wait. So this is a Black Panther you talk about. Black Panther. Because I want the church to hear this now. Yes. You're saying that a Black Panther, yes, or a man masquerading as what we would consider a Black Panther. A Black Panther, right. Say it one more time. For the raped 150 black women, told the CIA when they brought him in, he was never convicted of rape. He said it out of his mouth, 150 black women as practice because they were less valuable than the white women. So I needed to practice on them. So when I rape a white woman, I knew what to do. And what year was this? Just for context. Let me go back. Approximately 60s, roughly, right? Yeah, roughly in the 60s. So bringing it full circle, right? The topic of the show is: did black women choose welfare over the black man? So here's a scenario where you have a collective of black men who we think are here to protect community, right? Since the police are beating the hell out of us, abusing the hell out of us, we form our own thing, right? And they are here to protect and serve in ways that the police simply not doing, right? And one of the heads of said organization is actually doing the same harm in many ways that the original perpetrators are doing, right? So then you present one of these 150 women, watch this, with the option, get rid of your man and take this government assistance. What do you think she's going to choose?
Right.
Because she doesn't feel very protected.
Right.
Therefore, she probably feels undervalued, marginalized, abused. Offer a woman like that. And I know that, look, my granddaddy came from that era. My daddy came from that era. Right? So there are a lot of men who didn't do this. But I am saying that there were enough women who dealt with that kind of abuse.
Right.
To the point where maybe it wasn't such a bad offer in the mind of a woman who is dealing with a level of abuse where, hell, it might be a good idea in her mind to have her own place where ain't no man welcome anyway, because all she been catching is hell from dudes anyway, in her mind.
Take on, even think of it this way. This man was one of the top leaders in that movement, right? That is what we're dealing with even today. When you have a man with that much influence that is infiltrating pain and destruction into his community, don't think that he was just sit back chilling, I'm gonna rate these 150 women, and he ain't telling the dudes that's in his camp that this is okay. Some of them might have rose up and be like, dude, don't do that. But a lot of them was listening like, oh, is that the right thing to do? The same way we have right now with some of the people. I'm not gonna give them place on our show. We know who we've been talking about for the last few weeks. This person, okay, has this much influence. Why? Because he's dealing in the pain of our Black men who have been removed from their homes, taken from the workforce, taken their wealth from them, taken their manhood from them, and then said, guess what? Whose fault it is? Guess whose fault it is? It's your woman's fault. She didn't have enough power for it to be her fault. She just happened to be collateral damage. But rather, instead of saying, man, she didn't take me out. She was just trying to feed our family because they took my job. And if she wouldn't have taken on these food stamps, then we wouldn't have been able to eat because we got 4 kids over here. Now, so what would we do? And when you get a man that has that much influence, even today, where he is spewing hate, destruction, and division in the household, which is this was happening in the Black Panther situation too. He had influence. He was telling other people to do this. This is a cycle that has been going on and created on purpose.
Now watch this. In the context of war, right? This is what we're talking about. So imagine a Black man, and let's just create this scenario, 1965.
During this Black Civil Rights movement.
Yeah, this is the time period where we're saying, where many people are saying that the Black woman chose welfare over her man, right? So let's just 1965, 1970-ish. We know how much, if you go back and look at some of these Eyes on the Prize videos, I don't know if y'all, you go back and look at some of them videos with the water hoses and the dogs being sick on the brothers, right? Black men were catching hell. Yeah. And not all, look, I know all white people didn't do it, but there were a lot of whites during that time frame that were silently complicit, right? Hey, maybe they didn't want to get in trouble with their fellow white peers. Whatever the case may be, there were a lot of people who A, joined in, and there were a lot of them who B, sat back and said, it ain't my business. Right.
Right.
So now this is America, right? Martin Luther King. And a lot of people say in the South, Martin Luther King said he hadn't known racism. He thought racism was bad in the South. But boy, that beast in Chicago that he encountered, he's had to filter that out.
Come to yourself. Come to yourself.
that beast that he encountered once he got into Chicago, the racism he dealt with in Chicago made the racism in the South look bad, look like child's play. Right. So this is an American thing. It's as American as apple pie.
Yes.
Racism is, right?
Yes.
So watch this. You have a great collective of black men in 1965, 1970 in the belly of the beast that we're calling America, as racist as any place on the face of the earth, right?
Right.
How many jobs you think are available to black men during that time period? Right?
Very little. Very little.
And let's just take a scenario like Black Wall Street, which is Tulsa, Oklahoma. You can go down to Rosewood, Florida. You can go to Charleston, South Carolina. You can go to different black areas where black people were doing their thing. When we were left to our own vices, we built things up.
Right.
We created economies for ourselves where we were able to sustain ourselves.
Right.
And then what happened? Great Depression time, white folks are struggling. They don't like the fact that we're thriving despite their struggling. So they dropped the bomb on Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Right.
Pushed our reset button, set us back a few decades, right?
Right.
So saying all that to say this. In the context of war, right? This is the umbrella, and we're dealing with which area of people activity in economics.
Right.
Right. We're going to choke the family out. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a scenario where the man has a difficult time, damn near impossible time, providing financial security for his family. And then we're going to come in and offer the woman a way out. Right. We're going to first choke him out.
Choke him.
Right. And then we're going to come in and offer the woman a sweetheart deal. Hey, look, you're struggling. The man can't really do it for you. Your kids are hungry. Your conditions are dilapidated. How about you take this package that we got for you? But, one caveat, man can't be here. Yeah. Well, hell, he's struggling anyway. And word on the street is, a lot of us don't want to acknowledge this part, but many men, I don't know what the percentage, but it wasn't uncommon for a man to say to his woman during that time, hey, you know what? I can fend for myself out here. You go ahead so that you and the kids take the deal. You and the children get a safe place so y'all can eat. And then I'll try to figure something out.
Yes.
Right. Now that is also not uncommon. Go ahead.
Right. And that's what I said earlier, that they were coming together, making that decision. Baby, we need to do this. I'll step out. I'll do what I need to do to be able to get you this. And it's not uncommon, even in different situations. How many, even throughout the last 20, 30 years, I know several people that have chosen even things so simple as this, not to put their husband on their mortgage, their rent, their lease, different situations because it was more favorable without him on there. And they made that decision together. But at the end, if they decide that they want a divorce, his name ain't nowhere to be found. Now he looking like, man, I wish that, And so, but those decisions are being made. You don't know. Pillow talk is something that you will never be able to combat. You don't know what is happening in those households that is making and creating these decisions that we are watching unfold in front of us. The only thing that we really have control over is getting out the information that is needed in order for our communities to be thriving and to be educated, and so that we can ultimately go into what we were purposed here to do. If you're not trying to do that, if you're trying to do anything but that, you are divisive and you are against the community, period. And that's some of the things we talk about even with these gurus today. If it is dividing and not bringing together, you are against the community. You are creating this havoc that you don't need to create. And so we really need to pay attention to that. Pay attention to these little signs, y'all. There are so many things that are in the area. Some people hate, everybody want to think they woke. Forget it. How about stay asleep? How about just pay attention to the signs? Pay attention to what's happening around you. Pay attention to things like, I want to talk about this for a little bit. And this is kind of a sidebar, but I need y'all to pay attention. Pay attention to the wealth transfer that's supposed to be happening. There's a wealth transfer that's happening right now, right? They're afraid of that wealth transfer to happen. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to bring it back around. The way that they're trying to do that is bring that back around is keep you from real estate. So if you know anybody that's trying to sell their house and come up out of their house and they got total equity in their house, tell them don't do it. Sorry, Nugget.
No, that was necessary. And that was necessary.
Because they want you not to have. They want you not to have the ability to create the wealth that we're owed and do. So
one of the ways that we live in a Me Too culture. I mean, a me first, in many cases, me only type of culture, where first and foremost, the only thing that matters is my happiness. To hell with what anybody else thinks, to hell with how anybody else might be affected. If I'm happy, that's what matters more than anything else. And so there is this, what's missing, I think, is this sense of a collective good. And so we're making decisions based on what feels good to the individual rather than what is good for the overall collective. Yardley says, this is why I always give the Democrats the side eye. They were what the Republicans are now. The racism up north was more economic and class. Tulsa, Oklahoma was the first American city bombed by an airplane 20 years before Pearl Harbor.
Why, people?
Gap Band made a song about it. Remember that?
Let me tell you, I was listening on my way from a client the other day, and I was listening to Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill, they pushed her out because she was telling some truths. I was listening to Tupac. I was listening to some of the real greats that are just either nowhere around right now or they've been hidden or something like that. They were spitting so much truth. Tupac was talking about this back then that we're even experiencing right now in our social media climate with the influencers and all those. I can't think of the name of the song, but I was singing it because I knew all the words. I can't even think of it right now. But they were spitting so much game in the songs. So that's why they changed a whole bunch of situations. And now all you're hearing is just junk that has no meaning. So because they understood that we worked through our music. We did that back in slave days. We did that back when we were, when we were a community in our own place. They did that. And we use music to heal. We use music to communicate. We use music as an overall in our community. So what did they do? They diluted it so that we couldn't connect. But yeah,
they corrupted the drum.
That's good.
They corrupted the drum. Family. This is what they've done with all I think just about all rap music now. All rappers are using the 808 drum. Now, maybe they've graduated to something newer, because I haven't listened really to much rap and I've been kind of disconnected. But when I was coming up, the 808 drum was very popular, right? And so the way they corrupted the drum, there is a rhythm to the drum, right? And the rhythm taps into your psyche, right? So what they've done is they manipulated the timing of the beats,
right?
The drum beats. And what it does is it makes your subconscious mind more susceptible to the message. Listen, it makes your subconscious mind more susceptible to the message.
Yes.
So now, like the rap music that you were just talking about, sis, back with Tupac, he had a message. He had a different kind of message. He had some foul stuff too.
Yeah.
In his early days, Pac was conscious. Right? Look at rap today, same drum, same manipulation of the 808 and the timing of the beat, same effect of making the subconscious mind more susceptible to the message. But now check the message.
Check the message. That's it.
Look, Bone Crusher. What's his name? I Ain't Never Scared. Right? He got kicked out the club, so he going to the club. I might have the lyrics wrong, but y'all get the point. He went to his car to pop the trunk so that he could get his gun because he ain't never scared. Right? Now, these. If you a boxer and you playing this song as your entrance song on your walk to the ring, your ring walk, that song. Look, I can listen to that right now and get hyped up while I get ready to lift weights or whatever. Imagine hearing these songs in the club full of that liquor around a whole bunch of knuckleheads. They high, drunk, sipping on lean, whatever it is, whatever your pleasure, right? And then something violent happens. Maybe you get burned with a cigarette by accident. Somebody steps on your new Jordan 1s.
Bumped into you because it's crowded.
And this is largely why you see a lot of violence popping off at our clubs or a lot of concerts and so on. The consciousnness of the people has been so greatly manipulated to the detriment. That drum used to be, like you said, have a healing effect. And look, you can still use music for that, but you're not ready for that. So what's happening is the music that you are hearing, Lil Stain, I'm
so out of touch. I can't even name any.
And I'm going back rappers that's probably been out the game for 15 years. I don't even know a lot of these guys.
They flip so much.
Yeah, but I mean, it's reckless. And our music right now, even the R&B, our music is poison.
Yeah.
The music that we enjoy I'm about to hurt somebody's feelings. One of the favorite songs when I was growing up, Whitney Houston, Saving All My Love for You. She was singing about being a side piece.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? And everybody loved that song, was singing it.
Look, what she say? You used to tell me we'd run away together. But and I'm going to skip, you got your family and they need you there, right? She was singing about being a side piece.
Yes.
Classic. Right. Good classic. Black family, Black community classic, glorifying what breaks down the family
structure. Black family structure.
You don't understand, in the context of war, even your entertainment is being used to break down your family.
Hold on this. When they go into different, and I've never been in the service, so I've only read this, and when I was doing my play, was trying to figure out some different things to put in the veteran part of my play. And so different things, sirens and these decibel sounds to manipulate the mind, to, like you said, get them to hear what they wanted to hear. Mm-hmm. Different Chinese, when they're training up their soldiers, they use these sounds over and over and over and over and over again to manipulate the mind so that they ultimately can get them to do exactly what they want them to do. And this is the same thing. So we're talking about the Black woman and her choosing to take welfare over the Black man. When you have been manipulated, okay, you will do what survival tells you to do. And that is what has happened. So what do we do in manipulating the music? Somebody come for you, survival kicks in, and whatever has been placed in your mind is what you're going to produce. But we don't get it because we don't understand the art of war.
We need a bomb. We need the bombs.
We do.
So we can drop them when you look. I'm going back to.
No, you over here dropping nuggets. I'm telling you,
I'm gonna go back, family, to the top where I mentioned.
Please do
that. To a great extent, listen to me, good, family. And I know a lot of brothers don't like when I talk like this because I've been accused of, oh man, you take women's side, or you be bashing the brothers. How, bro? Look, how? Like, why in the hell would I do that? I don't choose sides. I choose what I try to choose is righteousness.
Right.
And I know I'm not, I'm just a regular guy, but my heart is centered on doing the right thing.
The right thing,
what's
right
and just, not what's male or for female. So miss me with that. But here's the point. When I think about a warrior, If I ask everybody that's in the comment section right now, list your favorite warrior, you'd probably get a whole slew of names. You get Achilles, you get some people might say Mike Tyson. You get all kinds of names, and very few, if any of them, would be female. Right? Watch this. You don't like this, I know, but if we're gonna keep it a stack, we got to keep it a stack. Right?
No chaser.
When you think about the condition that a woman must be in for that to even be an appealing offer. If somebody comes to my house right now and he tries to make my wife that type of offer, he'll be lucky if I don't punch him in his damn face.
Right.
Right now, I might go to jail for that or whatever, but the chances are pretty good that I'm gonna punch him in his damn face. Right. So, because she gonna be like, babe, some fool at the door. I'm gonna come downstairs and I'm gonna talk to him up close, and it's probably gonna be a problem. Right? I'm saying when you think about warriors and protection, and then you have to consider what the Black family, what the Black community, what the Black woman was enduring, all this trauma, all this pain, all of this externally imposed trauma.
Yes.
Where was the protection for that? Who was supposed to protect the family, the community, the woman from all of that?
He was taken out the house.
He was taken out the house. I'm saying this is warfare, family.
Warfare.
So if we're sitting here talking about, well, hell, the women were supposed to get guns. The women were supposed to put on boxing gloves and they were supposed to stand for. Come on, man. Where you seen that at?
Right.
Maybe in the Amazon, I seen it on the movie Wonder Woman and Her Crew. They did it.
Yeah.
There were, and that's actually co-opted off of a real story. I think. What was the name?
Of the woman.
Yeah, what was the name of that woman, that female tribe in Africa, that great warriors? I forget. Damn it, I forget. Anyway,
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
The story was stolen. But the point that I'm making is, if somebody can get that close to your woman to the point where she can make her an offer that she internalizes as better than the offer that you're making her, you probably failed.
Yeah.
Relationally, as far as establishing a healthy level of protection. And I'm just gonna keep it a stack, man. And if we're talking about defense in many regards, and it's not just, look, I mean, it's war, and every war has a winner and a loser. And in this war, we've been getting dominated, right? And so this man has presented our woman with a set of options based on her being dominated. Right? Based on not only her being dominated, but based on her man being dominated. So, just saying, if you put it in context, it's kind of hard to blame.
And how about this? So the Reagan administration, person, one of the aides, said that a dual system of family law, one for the rich and one for the other poor, had been evolving. He cited, here comes the KS situations. If a stepfather entered the home, guess who is liable not only for the support of that mother, but also those kids? So they were putting into law that if the stepfather, if a person married somebody with kids, that he will become liable, making it a liability versus it being something that a man and a woman are coming together and deciding to create this family unit, whether it is extended or blended or whatever. And he said this meant that a working man who wished to marry a woman on welfare would face the prospect of assuming responsibility for the support of the children that were not his. So this came as a part of this poverty culture. And so the culture of poverty theories that have long held the dependency on welfare has become so entrenched that it created its own subcultures with values that encourage remaining in poverty and attitudes that discouraged self-reliance on purpose. On purpose, y'all.
Look,
This on purpose.
look. We are dealing with y'all ever watch was it Underdog, where Simon Bar Sinister, that evil scientist?
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Yep.
We are dealing with some evil geniuses.
Very.
And these people have what they call think tanks. Right? Listen, man.
One's happening this month.
Listen, these people have think tanks. And in these think tanks, they develop 100-year, 150-year strategies and plans for how they're going to impact the world. Now, watch this. Every year, they have a melanin conference. You hear what I'm saying? Every year, they have a melanin conference. Guess who ain't at the melanin conference calling shots?
You ain't there, are you? I ain't there. I ain't getting no invite. You get an invite?
I think Dr. Richard King, he's one of the foremost authorities on melanin, how it, what it is, what it does, etc.
Mm-hmm.
He's a black man, black American, Dr. Richard King, and then there's Dr. Jewel Pookrum, right? So these people and Dr. Delbert Blair, there's some of us who are very well informed on what melanin is and what it does, how it flows, right?
Right.
But for the most part, we're not there. These people are having melanin conferences and they are void of melanin. They don't, let me rephrase that. It's not that they don't have melanin. They don't have nearly as much melanin as you. So you would think then, if they had a righteous intention at these conferences, that we would be
included.
We would be disproportionately represented at these conferences, since we got the most to gain and the most to lose, right?
Right.
But you ain't there. So these people are making strategies about you without you, is what I'm saying.
Period.
Warfare.
See, this is the thing. When you think about warfare, think of many of the movies, everything. If you wanna watch the entertainment that is on our televisions, on our YouTubes, on our computers, on our phones now, make sure that you're getting something out of it, and it's not just entering your attainment. Make sure it's not entering your attainment just because. Make sure that you're gathering some information so that you can attain what you were meant. Okay. So,
Come on, Bob. I got to create my own bomb signal for you.
Make sure that you are getting something from it. So start to look at these things with, I don't like the whole third eye, because I don't do that, but it makes sense to me, right? Holy Spirit, discernment, third eye, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Make sure you're starting to look at it. So if you look at a war movie back in when it was black and white, you got the men around this big old map and they're sitting around there having this discussion. They're nowhere near the front line. They're in some Pentagon. If y'all don't start looking on the internet instead for starting trying to figure out what you're gonna buy and what you're gonna do for the weekend, start looking up some of the stuff that is creating the havoc in your community. I'm sorry. They are in somewhere in some bunker creating the plans of what they're going to do when they send the men out to the front line. They are doing this regularly and y'all don't even know it. How many knew that there was a conference every year with all the leaders? Some of y'all, because we got some woke folk on here, all the leaders in the world who are creating a plan, like you said, even for the melanin people, creating a plan of what the whole world is going to do. Although, didn't they say we going to war with people? Didn't they say we had all these other wars? So then if we having all these other wars, how in the world are you coming together with these? Pay attention, folk.
Let's swing it this way for a second. What can we do about it? Let's talk strategy.
Yes.
And so I say that first and foremost, as a strategy, right? If your men and your women don't learn how to get along, at least for the purpose of producing healthy outcomes, and let's call these healthy outcomes children, right? If we don't learn to at least get along for the purpose of producing healthy minded
Children.
physically
Legacy.
healthy, emotionally healthy, psychologically healthy, we are going to become maybe not extinct, but a permanent underclass,
Right.
relegated to entertainment of those who don't need you for anything other than entertainment, maybe even cannon fodder. Right? So I'm saying, family, when this is the reason that we are here with this show. So
Absolutely.
we are here for the primary purpose of what do we call it?
Healing and harmonizing.
Healing and harmonizing relationships. Because if you're going to mount any type of counter attack to a war that's being waged against you, the first thing you have to do is conquer the enemy within.
Yes.
Right? Because, and as my favorite African proverb, when there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do you no harm. Right? Right now, we are in many regards, we are operating as our own enemies because we don't even like each other.
Right.
Much less enough to produce healthy outcomes. So we got to begin with healing the internal wounds, the internal factions that are operating as enemies. That means our men and our women have to begin getting along in a way that produces healthy outcomes. And children are not the only healthy outcome. It's healthy. It's good for your mental health to entertain a relationship that flows in some sort of harmonious type of way.
Right.
So this is, I'm saying a whole lot. These are a whole lot of words that I'm using to say one thing, that get yourself a coach or a counselor or something to help heal your relationships or to help prepare you. This is the most important part. Prepare you for a healthy relationship. This is what we are here for. We come on here, we talk a whole lot of stuff. We quote a lot of statistics and a lot of facts and give a lot of good ideas, I think. But the primary reason that we are here is we are positioning ourselves as a resource so that you can use us accordingly.
Yeah, because this is the thing. In order to get to the place where you can come and say, hey coach Vaun, hey coach Michelamonè, I need your help, I need your resources, I need you to help me. Or if you decide to go with a therapist because of insurance or whatever the case may be, whatever help you go to, you have to understand why it happened. See, the purpose of us going back to places like 1965 when these things started, going back in the day when our ancestors, the purpose of us talking like that, because some people is like, why we always got to talk about what grandmama did. The reason why is because you cannot figure out how to get to where you are, to where you want to go, unless you understand. You don't have to know it all. You just have to understand where you came from. Once you understand clearly that it was not us that did it, then you can stop fighting each other so that you can say, okay, what? Hey, baby. Hey, honey, you know what? We haven't really been getting along. We don't know how to do this. Why do we don't know how to do this? Because we have been kept from the arts that Coach Vaun and Coach Michelamonè have been talking about. We have been kept from the 9, what do they call it? The 10 things that you just mentioned?
9 areas of people activity.
We have been kept from the 9 areas of people activity. We have been kept from these things that will create this dynamic so where we can create a healthy legacy that's moving forward so that our children are not being injected with that stuff. Because let me tell you something. This is the one thing that people do not clearly understand. Every time you do something, the laws of the universe, the spiritual laws, whatever you like to call them, they are absolute and they are truth. You can't change them. You can't get around them. What you reap, you shall also sow. Whatever you attract, law of attraction, however you want to put it, whatever you put out in the universe will come back to you. It will boomerang every single time. You just may not be standing in the place where the boomerang came from. Your child may be standing there. Your grandchild may be standing there. Your whoever, somebody down the line.
Ouch.
In your generation may be that person where that boomerang came from. And if they didn't launch the boomerang and you have been replaced by them, they're going to get hit. They're not going to expect it. So the only way that you can do that, if you feel like, you know what, man, I done put out some bad things. I ain't really hit it. But you know what? I got kids. Hold on. Let me now inform them of what's coming, because that boomerang is on its way around. And I want them to either be dodging it or getting ready to catch it. One of them has to happen, but they will get hit because it's going to come around. We reap what we sow. Karma, universal laws, whatever you want to call it, it is absolute. And there's nothing you can do about it. So fix yourself. Fix your kids. Fix how you relate to your partner. Stop deciding on these superficial things of how you're going to do that, because this thing is bigger than you. And if you keep thinking it's about your day-to-day thing, if you keep thinking it's about, you know what, today I ain't like my spouse, today I wasn't gonna do this, today I ain't giving my spouse none, today I'm not cooking, today I'm not gonna bring home the money, today I'm gonna go with my mistress, today, keep thinking of today, you will disrupt the line and the lineage of what you've been created to do.
Watch this. They say you are what you eat, right? I'm going to go a little deeper. And I'm going to say you are what your grandparents ate.
Woo, come through.
Huh? So I think that I don't want to go too far down it, but somebody just wrote a book, I think, with that same title, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe that's what planted the seed in my mind. But we have to start thinking to the point that you just made, this boomerang that we're throwing. Sometimes that boomerang is a decision that we make between eating grapes or eating the Milky Way or Snickers bar.
Yeah.
Right? Because what you just put into your temple is going to affect who comes after you in the next generation, maybe even the generation after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you are what you eat, but you also are, your grandchildren are also what you eat. So I had another point I was going to make, but I think I'm going to stop right there.
Let me piggyback on that. Let me tell you how that's proof. There has been proven, and y'all can go look, Google is really good. Okay. So Google it yourself. There has been studies that have talked about children that have remembered or start singing songs that they've never heard before. And you're sitting around going, remember your grandmama used to sing that song? And you're trying to figure out the grandmama been dead before this baby was even conceived. But this baby remembers songs because it came through the bloodline. If you don't understand that everything, I love how the sister, oh my God, came when she came on Mother's Day. She came and she blessed us. Y'all go and watch that show, the Mother's Day show that we had.
Yeah.
Sister's name,
Garthian Muhammad is the brother, and sister
Andrea Muhammad.
Andrea
Muhammad. Go and check out our YouTube page. She did the Mother's Day special with us. She dropped some nuggets about the bloodline and how we have been. You say what?
I said she killed it, didn't she?
She killed it. How she was talking about the bloodline and how we have had so many different things pass through our bloodline, and we have no idea that it was even transpiring because we weren't careful about what we were creating. Yeah. We weren't careful about how we were doing it. So we were passing this stuff down into our bloodline, and we're doing it today. We're doing it today.
If look, one of the things that's very common I see on social media, everybody want to have the relationships that grandma and granddaddy had. Where the couples that have been married 40, 50, 60 years, right? Everybody want to have what grandma and granddaddy had. But in order for you to have what grandma and granddaddy had, you have to realize what they realized. What was that, Vaun? I'm glad you asked. They realized that they needed each other.
Come through.
If you don't understand that, your whole perspective is whack.
Done.
Look, grandma and granddaddy shine, right? They went through some things. I'm gonna keep my language clean because my mama might still be here. They went through some things, right?
Right.
Grandma and granddaddy, but they shined. 65th anniversary. Girl, look at grandma and granddaddy sitting there looking all good, all regal, like they ain't been through nothing. They don't look like what they've been through. Right. I say they don't look like what they've been through. Right. They sitting here shining. Everybody want to be a diamond, but don't nobody want to get cut.
No.
And I'm saying, in order to be what they were, you got to realize what they realized. We need each other.
We need each other.
Your men need your women need your men, and our children need us both. Yeah. Primarily intact as a family unit. I know a lot of people say, oh, we can be great parents if we're part of. I'm gonna keep my language clean because my mama might be listening. But I'm saying the best way, the primary way to reverse all of the different things that are affecting us is through the traditional family unit.
Yes.
Mother, father, children.
Child. Yeah. So listen, y'all, we've been on here for 93 minutes, y'all. We thank you so much. If you haven't already loved us, love us, hit that love button before you tap out of here. If you haven't already, go over to our YouTube page over at the His and Her Perspective show on all things relevant. Make sure that you're subscribing to those pages so that you can get the updates of everything that we're doing here today. Go over to Coach Vaun, the Love Alchemist, on all social media platforms. And Coach Michelamonè is Vaun, the Love Alchemist. You're not going to see Coach, so look for Vaun, the Love Alchemist on all social media platforms. Coach Michelamonè on the same, and ATR, all things relevant. Do that, please. Make sure that you are liking us, sharing. Why? Because of the information that we're giving today, you're not going to hear no place else. Okay. So, and go back and look at some of our other videos. This is our Juniversary month. Celebrate with us. If you want to support us in some way, shape, or form, we do have a Cash App. We need to put that up. It's His and Her Perspective. You want a Cash App, His and Her Perspective. AND is and His and Her Perspective, so that we can continue to do the things that we're doing. Please make sure that you're doing that. Support us in any way, shape, or form that you can. We don't care if it's $1, if it's $15, whatever you can give us, because we're trying to get this out as much as possible so that we can reach the people. So this is the thing, y'all. Make sure that you see us every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you want to lead us out, brother?
Hey, family, this has been good. It's been real. It's been fun. Dare I say it's been real fun. Look, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with us. And for that, we are eternally thankful. We love y'all.
We love y'all. Bye.